evil is all on us. It's referred to as the Joe Schoen Rebuilt Part 3. This Tennis New York Giants Straight Talk. Everybody online, Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about the salary cap. Want to talk about free agency. Want to talk about quarterbacks. Want to talk about the draft. Want to talk about a lot. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's talk about Joe Schoen sucks. It's weird, though, because you look at parts of Giants social media. And you would think that the Giants were, in some regards, some people I should say, not everybody, but you would think that the Giants are a couple players away. And the Giants just need to go get Matthew Stafford, go get that almighty quarterback. And this is all going to get fixed. Then we're going to be like a 15-win team. Dun-dun-dun. It was nice to take a little break from everything. And because of the fact that, we always have to get back to right when we get back. Just when I think where is that sound effect? Where we need because I got my soundboard back. So you know what we need? Hold on, let's.
That's when I thought I was out. They pulled me back in.
Oh, we have to do it right off the bat. It's gonna be
Stupid Giant Twitter post.
Oh, this one goes to a venerable favorite license plate guy. No fucking shit, he says. People been out of their way to say the Giants hate. It's serious every single day. Yeah, we get it. They stink. They'll rise again. Not soon enough for all of you haters. That goes double for you so-called Giant fans that stay on social media doing the most hate. Oh, that's just so. Oh my God. So, of course, I had to respond. One of his dumbest posts yet ranks up there with, I don't think the Eagles have a good defense. The Giants since 2013 are 70-125 with two winning seasons. Been a fan and family season ticket holder since 1976, former. So if I want to complain or you want to complain, it's your right. Signed, number one fake Giant fan. I hate Twitter bullies. I hate them. I really do. Because you think you're going to bully me into saying, well, okay, you know what? So you wear license plates around your neck and you go to games. Oh, my God, I need to listen to you. Yeah, look what happened to Fireman Ed. Or whatever the hell his name was over at the Jets. Let people be. People want to complain. They're allowed to complain. You want to fucking complain. You want to know why? Because this team has been dog shit since 2012. With 2 winning seasons, 2 playoff appearances. And we keep hearing as fans, it's a rebuild. And I don't need a homer sitting there telling me, well, you're all negative. Well, you know what? Do something and we'll be positive. Not that difficult to figure out. This is what happens when you come back from vacation. You get ornery. We talked about the quarterback. Okay, Joe Schoen has been rebuilding this team since his first day. The first day that he came in and said, you know what, we're going to do this the right way. We're going to build through the draft. We're going to augment through free agency. We're going to cultivate our own talent. We're going to do all those things to make this a successful franchise once again. Well, you haven't done any of that. That 7-2 start buried this team in mediocrity probably for another 4 years. I mean, let's just be honest about it. And and I don't know if these reports are true. They could be true. They might not be true. But when your hope is lying on the abilities of Jackson Dart, we got a lot of problems. I know that some people are saying the Giants have Jackson Dart as the 3rd best quarterback on this board here for this upcoming draft. I mean, there are 2 quarterbacks in this draft. There are literally 2 quarterbacks in this draft. And that, of course, is going to be Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I'm not sure what Tennessee is going to – I don't know what Tennessee is going to do. I don't know if Tennessee is moving to certain situations where they're going to move out of that pick. I mean, it would be smart if they move out of that pick, to be honest. But when I look at this draft, from an outside perspective and not looking at it as a Giant fan – who needs a quarterback, I still have Cam Ward ranked first. I still have Shedeur Sanders second. And it's funny because I still have Listen, Jalen Milroe had a terrible Senior Bowl. God awful fucking Senior Bowl. Terrible. But I actually still have him ranked over Jackson Dart, and I actually have Kyle McCord over Jackson Dart as well. Because to me, you want to talk about a true boom or bust prospect. Well, that's the Mississippi gunslinger Jackson Dart. 6'2", 225. He's more like 6'1". This is a guy that if you look at him, people are going to say he can make all. How many? I'm sorry, I got to find it. See, here we go. He makes all the throws on Sunday. No, he doesn't. He has a good arm strength, adequate, with some velocity, but nothing to go wow about. He's got J.J. McCarthy arm strength. He is this guy that can move, he can run. But, honestly, I don't think if you watch some of these games, if you watch the Kentucky game, watch the Florida game, watch some of these games, he doesn't throw well on the run at times. He has what some of us would refer to as lazy footwork. And if you want to pick a quarterback in this draft that falls to the phrase inconsistent in reference to his ability to make those reads, you're looking at Mr. Dart. You're looking at Dart right there. That's Dart in a nutshell. You are looking for a big arm quarterback that can chuck the ball downfield to Malik Neighbors, throw up that 50-50 pass. This isn't your guy. This is gonna be Danny Dink and Dunks Part 2. Or if we watch the Charlie Sheen movie, Part 2. He doesn't throw well. He doesn't throw well with anticipation. I've said this before. The people point out the Senior Bowl highlights. One of the Senior Bowl highlights I like to point out was that 7-on-7 drill where he lofted a pass to a wide receiver in the left corner of the end zone, and it was a lollipop throw. Lofted it big time. Put a lot of air underneath it. The only problem is he didn't see the safety, and the kid I think it was 47. The kid from Georgia. And oh my God, basically he got his wide receiver laid out because he didn't see the safety. And I don't know how you don't see the safety on 7-on-7 drill. And then they talk about that play down the middle of the field where that big pass where he threaded the eye of the needle between two defenders. Great leaping catch by the receiver. Great leaping catch. But if you throw that with a little bit more air and a little bit more velocity, and you get it over the two defenders and hit the guy in stride, and he doesn't have to stop and come back for the pass, it's a touchdown. I mean, you have to look at all these things, and you have to. And I don't. You know what? One of the quickest deliveries that I have seen in years come out of college was from Spencer Rattler last year. He's got a little bit of little Dan Marino quickness to that release. I don't see a quick release on this guy. He's not Tommy DeVito with the elongated pitcher's windup, but he's going to get a lot of balls knocked down, a lot of balls knocked out of his hands, because that's just what he is. Now, when I talked about when I said that I like Kyle McCord better, Kyle McCord's a horse of a different color. He's still a guy that's only 6'2". He's still a guy that's 225. If you took a look at the way he played at Syracuse last year, he was basically, and I only watched Syracuse as much as I did because of Big Don. Because Big Don is a huge Syracuse fan. So I got to watch the kid. I watched the kid extensively. And if you want to prospect someone you're going to get maybe in the third or fourth round, we talked about the lightning quick release, the zoom, the ping. That's Kyle McCord. And you want to talk about a guy that is mechanically sound? You want to talk about a guy that is if you want to define a quarterback coming out of a draft and say this is a guy whose mechanics are are beyond reproach. They're pristine. It's like that. It's like getting that 65 Mustang coupe completely redone with all original parts. This is the guy. Perfect spiral. Got that nice rotation on the ball. If you're looking for a guy that's going to hit someone 15 to 25 yards with surgical precision, that's Kyle McCord. That's Kyle McCord, man. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Eli Manning too, with his little pre-snap reads. He's just got the touch. You got the touch. You got the power. He's just got that. We've said it before. He's got that je ne sais quoi. You look at a guy that's got that. You want to look for a guy with intelligence. He's got something between the ears. That's Kyle McCord. Natural leader. Guys love him. But not an athlete. Would not call him an athlete. He's not going to be a guy that's going to extend plays. He's going to be more of that pocket passer. But he can be, and he is at times. We always talk about how Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders like to play hero ball. He's got the same issue, but I think that's more because of the fact of where he played in reference to Syracuse. Now, we talked about how his mechanics are fucking awesome. There is a problem, though. Under heavy duress, under that rush, under that when it's time to.
Are you a big man? Huh? I'm talking to you.
What?
You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants. Look, I'm wearing a belt. I got big boy pants on.
When he's got to have his big boy pants on against that rush, sometimes those mechanics that we just talked about that were so wonderful kind of break down a little bit. He at times, Daniel Jones, he DJs it by locking on to his primary target way too long. But again, that could be just the talent at Syracuse. And what I think is funny though, and you want to laugh. In some ways, he's the reverse Daniel Jones. He locks on to his targets so much. Kyle McCord is downfield so much that at times he misses the easy check down. Daniel Jones was the opposite. So maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe I'm taking Kyle McCord in the third overall. Maybe it's just the fact that if you take a look at Danny Dink and Dunk, Kyle McCord is Bobby Deepchuck because he's always looking downfield, but he does singularly focus on sometimes that primary target and misses the ability to get the short completion. But that's but any of these guys outside of the top two is going to be a reach. And you have a guy like Joe Schoen where you sit there and think to yourself, he's got to reach. He's got to do something stupid. We've already heard the fact that Matthew Stafford's available from the Rams, but all the Rams want is the Giants' third overall pick. So we're going to reach for a 37-year-old quarterback who's on the wrong side of his career. Put him behind a suspect offensive line. Give him one wide receiver in with the likes of Malik Neighbors. And really, we have to hope there's a running game because we got to find a running back. So you cannot be 100% sold on Tyrone Tracy, but you have to sit there and think to yourself, okay, well that's not going to work. That can't work. Then you see the likes of Aaron Rodgers. You see the likes of, Kirk Cousins, two other guys that are basically washed up. They washed ashore with the toxic waste and the garbage on the Jersey coast. But somehow these guys that are in their 40s are going to be the resurrection for the New York Football Giants. It's going to be a desperation reach for a quarterback with Joe Schoen. The problem is he doesn't have the opportunity or the luxury of time to rebuild again because this is now the rebuild within the rebuild. He's got to look at
draft, baby. Yeah.
He's got to look at that draft and find his guys. But he's been finding his guys, and now he has a $16.1 million fifth-year option that he has to decide this season if he wants to pick up for Kayvon Thibodeau. Is Kayvon Thibodeau worth $16 million? No. Unless he has some kind of miraculous season this year in year 4, Kayvon Thibodeau was another whiff. The foundational picks of 5 and 7 was a whiff. Swing and a miss. Try the corner and missed. So you have that hanging over your head. You have the Evan Neal hanging over your head. People talk about his drafting this year, how great it was. But you know what the problem is? If you actually look at the play of the guys he drafted, they had to play. And some of them did not play as well as people perceive. So when somebody has to play because you have lack of talent on your team, that's out of necessity, not out of talent at times. I've said this a million times before. Even on bad teams, somebody has to play. Somebody has to make the tackle. We pick on poor Drew Phillips all the time, who finally had an interception in the NFL, his first one since high school. League only completed about 75 to 80% of passes against him for like 10 yards of completion, multiple first downs. And this is our big cover guy that people want to move into the second slot because he makes the tackles. Your job as a corner is to prevent the other team from catching the ball. It's the Aaron Robinson syndrome. You can look great making the tackles after the catch, but you don't want him to make the catch. You don't want his complete. You want to be a Patrick Surtain Jr. who basically just locked down guys. Didn't have to worry about making the tackles. Why? Because he prevented them from catching the ball. That's the general idea. So the fear of the axe for Joe Schoen and Brian Dable is this is just, I keep thinking about this more and more. This is just so dumb that thank God Mara is going to sell 10% of the team, because maybe he sends it to Eli Manning and we lift the curse. I keep thinking that, I've said it before that Eli Manning, we have been cursed since the Geno Smith day, and you heard of the curse of the Billy Goat. This is the same thing.
This place is cursed.
MetLife is cursed until Eli Manning gets into the Hall of Fame. Said it before. Giants' first win came when Eli Manning first made the Hall of Fame list. Second win came when Eli Manning became a finalist. So we need him to do something. We need him to buy the team. We need him to do something, because the stupidity of bringing back two guys that are so so desperate for a win, that they are literally going to do it. They are not going to stay the course of the franchise. They need to get wins. You get a 5-win season, you're not coming back. And if you do come back, John Mara is stupider than I thought. You're not coming back. And if you look at this home schedule, we only won one home game last year and no games in our division. I don't think I looked at the home schedule. I keep repeatedly looking at the home schedule. I don't think there's a game we're going to win. We could go 0-8 at home again. Or I should say, we could be 1-16 at home over the last 2 seasons. There's no magic pill for this team, and that's the scary part. If you look at this, there's no magic pill. People talk about the salary cap, how we have a plethora of space. Yeah, you have a plethora of space because you don't have a quarterback on your roster, which usually eats up anywhere between $25 to $40 million. And you got about $47 million in cap space now. You have so much, and I love it because you're going to have so much money tied up into your defensive line between Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau over the next 2 years, especially if you keep Thibodeau. That's not funny. You're going to have almost $30 million tied up into Burns, another 23. So let's see. So that's 30, that's 53, and that's 9, 53. So you have $63 million in a cap hits. Between Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau. You would think that you would have the Destroyer on these line. You would think you would have Rambo. You think you would have Conan. Not Conan. Conan the Barbarian. You would think you would have all these guys wreaking havoc, causing destruction and mayhem. Destruction, mayhem, and terror. No, we don't. We don't have the Purple People Eaters. We don't have Orange Crush. We got Diet Shasta. And then you got another 20. Think about it this way. You have another $21 million wrapped up right now. just in regards to cap hits. We're not talking about dead caps. We're just talking about the cap hits. You have another 21 wrapped up right now in Andrew Thomas, and that number's getting bigger. If you take a look at your top 4 guys, you have Okereke, Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, and what about Brian Burns? These are your top 4 guys on your salary cap. That to me, if you look at it from a perspective of a football perspective, is kind of insane. You don't have a big name wide receivers. You don't have a big name running back. You don't have a big time quarterback. You don't have any of that. Your top 4 guys, you have $87 million wrapped up in. And one of them is an often injured all-pro offensive lineman, of course. The other one is a guy in Dexter Lawrence who I love Dexter Lawrence. I think Dexter Lawrence is one of the best defensive tackles in the league, but he's not Aaron Donald. You got the sack artist at 27-year-old Brian Burns, but he's Kayvon Thibodeau who disappears ad nauseum. Then you got Bobby Okereke at $14 million at 29 years old, who already had the Blake Martinez season 2 conundrum, taking up almost 6% of your cap space. And if you just go down this roster, you got Ellie Moore Fudd, 31 years old guard. I got no heat. Evan Neal, no heat. You got Neighbors, great player. Singletary should be gone. Gano should be gone. Roaches should be gone. Deontay Banks, the jury's still out. Cordell Flott should be gone. Bellinger gone. McFadden can stay. Wandale Robinson should be gone. Tyler Nubin, you need to replace Tyler Nubin. I mean, he did his job for what he needed to do, but he's not. You need 2 new safeties. You got Azuda, gone. JMS should be gone. Undersized center who doesn't understand leverage, that gave up the most sacks in the centers part of the league. Then you have the likes of Phillips and Belton and Davidson and Johnson and Gray and Hawkins and Riley. I mean...
Ricky Vaughn, Willie Hayes. I never heard of most of them. Mitchell Friedman. Who are these fucking guys?
That's what you look at when you see the Giant roster. And you keep going down after the top 5. That's what top 10. That's what you look at. Who are these fucking guys? The only problem is when you had Rick Vaughn, Willie Mays Hayes, and Pedro Serrano, you had guys that came into their own. But don't worry, we got Billy Williams, wide receiver. Not Billy D. Williams. We got Billy Williams. We got Chapman again. A big defensive tackle who's just gonna be stellar. You got Bryce Ford Wheaton. Lincoln Ford Mercury. You got Theo Johnson. Joe Shane's like, I really like that tight end, Theo Johnson. I didn't really see anything. I saw 1 or 2 catches for him. And I hear, if you listen to the scuttlebutt coming out of Penn State, is he's lazy. And you could see it. This roster is so devoid of talent in some regards. It's not even funny. And people think $50 million is a ton of cap space when you don't even have a quarterback on the roster. And if you think that handing the keys of desperation to a general manager and a head coach who are a hair's whisper away from getting axed before Thanksgiving, I don't know what people are looking at. And I've said this before. This draft to me just is not this stellar draft in reference to talent. I think this draft, and it happens every 10 years or so. You find a draft that maybe there's like 10 guys that are going to be, stellar. And then the rest of the guys can be like, good to roster fillers. That's one of these drafts. That's this draft this year. It really is. And like I said before, I love the people that are just in love with Abdul Carter. And they showed this video of Abdul Carter working out. Oh, I loved it. Because he was showing his little shoulder dip that I always talk about. And he's still doing it. He's still doing it. And I mentioned in the bowl game, watch the bowl game. As soon as the shoulder got hurt and he couldn't do that little dip, the tackle just drove him into the ground. You're going to be able to get away with going around with guys on speed all the time. But look at O'Shane Zimmerman, who's talked about it before, 10.5 sacks at Old Dominion, relied on his speed in one move, and then we saw what happened to him in the rest of the league. Abdul Carter was an off-the-ball linebacker who was pedestrian at best, who they saw his quickness, and they put him on the line, and that's when he excelled for one season. And people want to take him third overall and pair him with two other guys that can't play the run and disappear extensively who have limited pass rushing moves. What a brilliant idea. Why don't we just make the Gray Ghost the starting running back? Have Tommy Top Gun DeVito do the rest, and we'll just call it a day. But don't worry, you're not allowed to be negative because there's so much good on this team. Someone asked me, what do you like about the Giant roster? Well, I like Malik Neighbors. I could have done without Brian Burns. I still think we trade Dexter Lawrence, get something for him while his value is high. Andrew Thomas is always hurt. Bobby Okereke is having a down year. I think going into 30, and we, like I said, we're paying almost $15 million for an off the ball linebacker when the league probably pays about 10. John Runyon, like I said, 20 years old. Nicest thing they could say about him in Green Bay is don't pull the guard because he trips over his own feet. And his replacement, who was a third-round pick, is now an All-Pro. Kayvon Thibodeau, just my thoughts on that. Ellie Moore. Average player. I don't know why people are like so enthused by him. Evan Neal, garbage. Devin Singletary, garbage. Graham Gano is going to be gone. Nacho's going to be gone. Banks. We could go through this roster repeatedly, but like I said, sometimes when you're picking through the trash, all you find is garbage. Oh, we're going to have to do a live stream, I'm thinking, on Tuesday, because I want to talk about the quarterbacks. This is Tim, this is New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Don't forget to like, subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell, because you want to know why. Adios.